Yes, we are back again after 2 weeks. Hello, everybody. Hello, Chris. I'm so
Hello.
happy to see you again. It
Yeah, I'm happy too.
was a long time, 2 weeks. There's a lot of things can happen in 2 weeks, I noticed.
Oh, yeah, really. Oh, I haven't noticed that at all.
No?
No.
Want to
It's
share
so
something?
quiet and peaceful in here. Nothing is happening. No, not at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is typical Dutch sarcasm. So if you don't know, this is it.
Can't, can't you see the wrinkles in my eye, the wrinkles in my head? Like, ooh. I am completely worn out from everything. Yeah, we were talking not long ago, we were talking about your own way of expressing your feelings.
Yeah.
And I think you too, huh? You have that. Yeah, we both have that. And we were figuring out with the group that people with this gift often have a lot of expression in their face, like, or they like to be a drama queen or drama king. And so this is explanation for this, what I just did. Like, nothing is going wrong. Like,
No,
no.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. I remember a good friend, the husband of a very good friend of mine, my best friend, actually. She, not she, but he, the husband. One day we were watching pictures on YouTube, and he saw a cat like with funny, scary face and very, actually a very ugly cat, but he said, "Oh, this cat reminds me of you, Chris." I said,
Oh,
"No,
eh?
thank you very much." I said, "No, that makes me happy." No, because you make those faces all the time, and I don't know, of course, but then you do like, you know, and this cat was like, so.
Yeah, I truly believe that if people would pay attention, because I don't think that everybody will see it because they are focused on themselves or whatever. But yeah, if they are focused on us, they can see exactly what we're feeling in that moment. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I have some friends that definitely pick up on that, and then they would be like, "Are you sure?" When I have a certain reaction that is not really in alignment with my face, they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "What?" you know, Playing the innocent, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because sometimes, because you're not aware of having those faces, I'm not always ready to share the feeling that I am feeling in that moment, because for several reasons, sometimes because I'm not really sure what I'm feeling, or I cannot put it into words yet, or whatever. So, and when you are called out like that, like, we see that there's something different in your face, and I'm like, shit, I don't know the answer right now. And I'm learning now that I can also say, I don't know. I just don't know in the moment. But yeah, that's uh, a learning curve still, because you're like you well, it's like being how do you say that in the best way in English? Because in Dutch you would say that you betrapt wordt.
Oh, you are caught.
Yeah,
You
that
are
you're caught on something,
somewhat
like
something
you're lying. You're not lying, of course, but it feels
like.
like you're caught, and you're like, oh shit, now I need to explain myself. And yeah, accepting that for myself also, that I don't need to explain myself. If I don't
No,
want to explain myself, I don't need to explain myself. So
you just can say, "Look at my face," and you know. Why do you ask?
yeah, but how they interpret your face, that can be different for everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't mean
Yeah,
that it's necessarily the truth that they see in your face. So
that's true.
yeah, they need to be very perceptive. I believe that when they are very open also to the energy, you have people that are really in tune with other people's energy. So if they combine those two, it will be more truthful. And I'm explicitly saying it like this. I won't say it is the truth, but it could be more truthful that they are sensing something in energy and they see my face and then they are getting to the truth of it. But it's always an interpretation from someone else's side. So it's always um, uh, not. I don't want to use the word clouded because I think it has a negative connotation, but it's always
A little, some kind of projection.
influenced by their own experience. Yeah.
Hmm.
So there's always this little uh, herbs and spices that they put onto it that make it maybe different than it really is.
That's good. That's good. But the more aware you are, and the more you can observe,
Yeah.
because you do have people who can observe. And
Yeah.
if you observe, and you just, if I would be an observer now, and I would say, oh, Mariska, I see agreement on your face. Is that right? This so I've yeah, for me, most a lot of times you are true, but there are people who are able to observe.
Yeah, well, I didn't say that everybody, but
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making distinctions about it, and also I'm totally 100% with you there with the observing. And what comes right to mind is observing goes hand in hand for me at least with being neutral. So when
Yeah,
you're observing from a neutral place, then
yeah.
you don't get your own pepper, salt, herbs, and whatever on it, and then you can, state a fact that you are seeing. It doesn't mean it is fact, but for you it is a fact that you're witnessing. And then yeah, you check in. If you want, you can check in, of course. A lot of people are not there yet. I think it's difficult to for a lot of people, also for me, to just be in the moment and be really observant, neutral, and then only state what you're witnessing instead of putting emotions, feelings, or whatever into the mix. So but yeah, that's definitely something. It's interesting because that's definitely one of the themes in the last 2 weeks for me that are showing up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a big theme to stay neutral, not be observant, not put my own pepper, salt, and all
yeah.
the things into the mix, but just state the facts as is in that moment. And also accepting that in another moment, maybe hours later or days later or weeks later, that can be different.
Mhm.
It is, it's in the moment. So yeah, interesting that we're getting to that, like, phew.
Yeah, yeah. It is. I kind of have a feeling that for me it is a theme right now. I don't know if it's for you, but so I ask you. For me, the theme right now is to get to know and to observe a lot of things from the past. A lot of, yeah, past in this life, whatever, it doesn't matter, but to be able to observe them and to get rid of them, because yeah, if you are able to stay the observer, you can yeah, outgrow them somehow. Then you can see what it does to you, and then you can actually choose what to do with it.
Yeah,
And or you can see what you have chosen before. This is what happens to me a lot lately, a lot. And so I observed myself, and I was kind of get information about what I did before. And so yeah, and then I can some kind of, yeah, analyze or feel like, do I want this again? Do I want to make the same choice again, or do I want to choose something else? And along that, for me, I don't know if it's for you, but along that comes a lot of fear, a lot of there's a lot of fear coming out of me. So I have to stay centered in myself at the moment. I have to stay completely centered. And sometimes I ask help. My boyfriend, he helps me with healings, or he just or just being there. And but I have to stay in the moment, in the now, because if I don't, I will caught up in the story from from then, and then I go in the storm again, and a lot of spices will be there again, and I don't want that. I just want to outgrow them, and I want to actually. I'm a very curious person, so somehow I also want to know what I did and what were the consequences. So, because like you, we are both learning from experience, and we teach, or we are inspirational for other people just because of our experiences. And so I want to know, and I want to learn, and I write them down as well, because I write a lot lately, but not lately in the book. I'm going to start now again with the book for the children. But I wrote in my journal a lot of things, and I got a lot of dreams. But they were not actually dreams, but they were more like symbols and signals and information and things like that. I'm very curious if somebody is watching, if they experience the same. And I'm very curious, Mariska, do you have the same experience at the moment?
You're describing my story. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. It's literally exactly everything you say. It's for me been the same. The last 2 weeks, it's very, very consciously choosing to be in the now, observing, stay neutral. There's a lot of fear coming out of me, and I'm also writing a lot. I'm writing down all the fears and releasing them right away. And there are even fears that I was never even aware of that I had them, and I was like, "What? Okay, interesting." But I also felt really strongly that I didn't need to analyze it. My mind wanted to analyze it, definitely, but my soul and everything was like, no, it's not necessary. Just observe, just witness. And one of the things, I have a great example for me. What came up was from the past something, and someone in my life mirrored that a couple of times already, but it never hit home really. And now, when was that? It was last Friday. It all of a sudden, because I was finally, I could step out of the emotions and the feelings and the whatever, and I could be in a neutral place. And all of a sudden, because one of the things that I was struggling with is that I felt disrespected by that person, and I made a very big deal out of that also, and it led to an argument and a lot of not nice things, but things happen in life. It belongs to living. But I was like, yeah, I feel really in the core. I feel really disrespected, and then all of a sudden it hit me like a brick of stones that was thrown at my face. Like, yeah, but do you respect yourself in that regard? And for me, it was linked to boundaries, having boundaries. And I could finally really objectively observe that I never put up, well, never is a big word, but I almost never, ever put up boundaries. I'm always going, okay, if you want this, okay, if it's going like that, okay, I will accept it. I will accept it. I will accept it. And then there comes this point that I start to get anxious, I start to get angry, I start to get resentful towards that people or the person. And usually then it's already going on for quite a while. It's not like it's going on for 2 weeks or something. It's yeah, quite a while. And so when the disrespect and the respect for myself came up, that came up right away. Like, you need to set your boundaries, because, and then respect your own boundaries first, and then you show and send out the energy to other people that they will respect those boundaries. And in another way, it's just not possible, because if I'm not having boundaries at all and I'm disrespecting myself, and by letting people walk all over me and just, don't look for arguments, don't look for confrontation, and whatever, what can you expect back? You can only expect back what you give yourself. So yeah, that's a big one that I'm learning right now. And it's challenging, because it means that I need to speak up. And that was another observation. I always thought that I was pretty open, but turns out that I'm not. So that was a very big confrontation with myself, expecting others to be open to me, while in the meantime, I'm not really open. I will look open, and, I'm receptive for things, but really sharing what I need, what I want, what I long for, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, or, whatever. I just don't do it. And yeah, now I made a list, and I read it every morning. And one of the things it says, okay, experiment with staying in the moment, and in that moment, what you feel, make it known to those people that are around you. So if, like Saturday, I had the most happy day, I made sure that I told them that I was very happy, that I had so much fun, and that it made my heart go open and receptive and grateful. And so I verbalized it. And the interesting thing, and you know already what the answer will be, what I'm about to say, is that, people like to hear that. They're like, "Oh, I'm so happy that you shared that. Yeah, I feel the same way." And then all of a sudden, this synergy comes into existence, and everybody opens up a little bit more, and yeah. So it's, again, we I think we had a couple of episodes ago about the magical things, and that for me is also like magical moments that all of a sudden, yeah, people feel also more open, and want to express it more. And so it is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. When you start acting like that or speaking out like that, um, I haven't had any time that people wouldn't respond. Always there's a response, and usually it's a positive response or a neutral response, but I never had a negative response up until now. So yeah, that's something that, in all the processes, from the fears that came up and all the patterns, and releasing a lot of old things and shit and whatever. So those were the most important ones for me that really stood out. Is there something for you that really stood out in the whole process of the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, actually the same. Like you said, for me it stood out that I was confronted with a lot of fear, and a lot has to do with with my body, with my physical body. I have a lot of experience with illness, like you, and so somehow I lost a little bit the trust in my body, or actually I also have the feeling that I'm very aware, and I'm very high in energy, and for me, the real challenge is to be human. So one of the things is also to be human is the body, and especially when you have, and I have a very atypical kind of body. I have strange things going on with my body. When I in 2003 I had cancer, and I had cancer in my mouth, and I had to be operated on. But when I had to go all the time to the hospital for radiation and for control, just for just for checking. But they always couldn't. They had didn't. Lots of times they couldn't find my cases, my file. And I asked them why, why, and what happened. Yeah, what you have, it's so atypical. We find cancer in mouth area, but most of the times there are very old male, so old male who smoke a lot. And so I was young, I was 35, something like that. Yeah, I was 35. I was no, I'm still female. So I didn't at the time. I didn't smoke, so it was quite unusual, and a lot of teachers, professors, they took my file just to talk it over with their students, because they found it very interesting. So, so just an example of my atypicalness. And anyway, I go back to why I talked about the body thing, because I find myself recently sometimes estranged with my body, and I've there are two kinds of things, two kind of reaction. If you feel something happening in your body, you can choose fear or you can choose trust. And I'm and lately I had to learn to feel the fear, because really strange things happen in my especially in my throat. I all the time feel like something is in my throat and it's choking me. So I think I have to, just like you mentioned, I have to speak up more. I have to talk more. And I was thinking, yeah, I talk a lot, but I have to talk more, and to tell the people more what I know or what I learn, and to tell about the experiences. So, and then I have to. It's mostly on that area. It's on that area, on the physical area, and on the area of creativity, because yeah, I find my yeah we I believe, I don't know a lot about it, but I know we have energy. It's sexual energy, and it's the same energy that you use for creativity. So
Yeah, it's
I
the sacral energy. Yeah,
sorry.
it's the sacral energy.
Yeah,
Energy. Sacral is sexual, is creativity. It's the whole. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and I experienced a lot of traumas on that area, and especially when you have your twin soul as your partner, and then you yeah uh, you have the brightest and the clearest mirror than you can ever be possible about. So I've yeah I learn a lot, and I feel a lot, and I go through a lot of things, and then so this is what the most yeah, this is what really is happening at the moment with me. And and he's helping me, because when I have when I experience the fear at the moment, then I tell him, I say, oh, or I feel fear, or I feel sadness, or whatever. And then I ask him just to touch me, to on my shoulder, or on my back, or just to me, or sometimes we smooch. Do with sage
Smudges,
and
yeah.
smudges, yeah, and things like that, and it helps me a lot. And of course, guys, if you don't have at the moment you have a partner, you can ask a friend, or if you are alone, you can um, you can ask uh, you can ask your guides, or you can ask the spirit or whatever, or you can go to a grocery store and surround you with people and just ask if their energy would make you feel better. It's just things. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have other suggestions, Mariska, for this subject?
Yeah,
So.
well, for me, what shows up, because also this is what I'm experiencing too, and also in the sacral area, that was a big thing. I had a big release yesterday in the sacral area. Um, what for me is important right now, is that I really soothe myself. So I find ways to soothe myself, and that I'm not dependent on anybody or
Mhm.
any outside agent. I need to do it myself, um, and find ways that I'm loving to myself, caring for myself, supportive of myself. And I'm still, yeah, experimenting with how I can do that. One of the things is, and it maybe sound like, what has that got to do with it? But I bought a hammock, and I noticed that when I'm in the afternoon, I will lay down in my hammock. That's very soothing somehow for me. It's because the body is in a different way when you're in a hammock. Like if you compare with the bed, it's two totally different experiences for your body, and you always sway a little bit. So apparently that's something my body really likes, and it feels supportive. It feels warm. It feels cozy. So that's actually what I am learning right now. That I need to first be able to soothe myself in some way, and there's times, of course, that I ask for help, and for me it's like, yeah, like you say, it's a hug, or
Yeah.
and I will just say, okay, I need a hug. Give me a hug, please, or come over, because I need to be not alone in the moment. I just want to have like some energy around me. Sometimes we talk about it. Sometimes it's just being around each other that already is enough. But yeah, it's for me getting in touch with my body and what comes up in the moment, what I need, and then again expressing that need, also to myself. So I don't know. The last couple of weeks, I am talking a lot out loud to myself. I catch myself talking to myself and have whole conversations, and it is soothing in a way. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I never looked at it like that, but it is soothing in a way, because those conversations bring clarity. They bring forgiveness. They uh,
Activate your well.
sorry.
They also activate your well.
Yeah, that too, and also that, yeah, that I'm important, that
Mm.
it's and that I am important, and that it's okay to just be and express, and that it is okay to do that to yourself, and then in a loving way. Like I always say, what would you say to a friend if the friend would come to you and have the same story or experience or whatever that she's sharing? What would you say to that person? And you're always very, or at least I am usually very kind and loving and nurturing. And I was like, yeah, and I need to do that myself. But I, for a long time, I did that more in my head, And I noticed now that saying things out loud, it imprints better, or somehow it catches on better. I believe it more, or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to describe that, actually. But what came up for me when you said all those things with your body, because I recognize also what you're saying there. And we started with the gift of creatively expressing your feelings. And all of a sudden there was this click for me at least, that I was always thinking, how do I express my feelings? What is creative about that? If I think about it, I cannot really come up with answers. But now all of a sudden it clicked that my body is one of the ways that I express my feelings in a very creative way. It's not always the nicest way, but it is very creative, because my body is giving me a lot of answers, actually. A lot of answers on things that I need answers for, or, if I'm looking to move towards something or forward or whatever. If I tune into my body will let me usually know which way to go. And so that is a very creative way, of course, of expressing your feelings, but it's so different than a verbal expressing of your feelings. And now that I'm saying that out loud, I want to experiment actually with how would I, because I'm learning to speak up also, and I believe that is important for me, because that has also to do with my throat chakra and my talent that I have here. But there is also ways, well, that's what I feel right now, that I can express feelings creatively through my body also to the people that I love. Don't know how yet, but well, it will happen when it happens. If so, I will share it. But all of a sudden, that comes up for me. So I'm like, whoa, wait, that's a whole different perspective on sharing feelings and getting others to know what those feelings are without always, exactly saying what they are. So yeah, I don't know why that came up. So, but yeah, I like it actually. So, but yeah, for the body part, yeah, I believe that there's something with the energy going on right now, because I'm exactly experiencing the same. And one of the things that I had was I was writing down all those fears, and those were mostly the fears. I had a lot of like, I'm not worthy and whatever. That was more in the higher chakras. But when I came down, the lower I got, the more it was about fear, fear, fear. I fear for this. I'm anxious for that. I'm fear for that. And then all of a sudden, I started heaving, kokhalzen. So, but dry, because I didn't have food in my stomach or whatever, but like only like that. And they said, I hear it in my head like, okay, stop writing, go grab a bucket and let it go. Just let it come, because it needs to get out. And I literally felt with every heave that came, and it was always, it kept dry. It was not like I was puking or something. And the deeper I went, the more I felt like it opened up, like things were literally released out of my body. The pinch. I felt pinches. I felt opening, and afterwards I felt so open, and I I never felt that. So it was a very, yeah, special, very special moment for me to feel like my sacral like bursting open, and feel like, okay, now I am there, that I can just enjoy everything that comes my way, sexually, but also in creative forms. Because creativity for me is has been most of the time something that I try to understand and try to control with my mind. So for example, I have a friend, she is a painter, an artist, and she said, well, to get to your emotions, it can be good to start painting, for example. And so, and she says, just start, just start, and what you're feeling, that you put onto the paper. and I just couldn't. I needed to paint something which was tangible, like, a flower, or it needed to be a subject. If I just let it go, I got really anxious, and I felt not right in my body. And then she said, "Well, okay, you're not there yet, and that's okay. Just don't be too hard on yourself. Just let it go." And with being creative, like in my work and stuff like that, I still notice that I try to form a concept with my mind, and then I try to squish the creativity into that box. It needs to be within those boundaries, because I want to accomplish something. And so the act of pure letting go and just be, and let it go wherever it wants to go, yeah, that's a whole new phase that I still have to discover. But I hope now, because of the opening, that that will become more natural, and more, and that I am more allowing myself, because it's also, for me at least, to allow myself to do things, and open up and be. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, me too, definitely. So yeah, well,
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's a
it
great
is.
adventure. I know, because I had I do sometimes, I do tarot cards, and lately, I all the time I get the card of adventure, 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 and all right, just be like a child, stay open, and let let everything just yeah, be like a fool, just be open, and admiration, like, oh, is this really happening? Wow, and things like that. And also with a lot of course, but try to stay open, and yeah, it's a challenge, but I like it.
Yeah, yeah, I like it too. Yeah, the curiosity of like children can be so curious, and
Yeah,
I was
that's
that for a long time, but
yeah,
I noticed that I blocked myself a little bit from
yeah.
that. So
And
I'm
this
also
this is
doing
what
that.
I want to preserve. I want to preserve that. I want to make sure that the children can keep this as much as possible.
Yeah,
And yeah, I like to share something else, if I
yeah,
may, because yeah, if I have to be honest, then I start with something. I have the gift of starting energy. Yeah, I have a great starting energy, and I also have the energy to stop. Of course, starting energy, you don't need to finish it. It's just the beginning. But I also have the finishing energy, so it can be very confronting, and a very in a big fight with each other. But yeah, I had some time off with writing from a book, and I was very I was very surprised that somehow yeah, it really felt, more or less, it felt like the flow was gone, because when I'm writing and I'm doing the book, and then a lot of people come to me, and I get invitations, or I get papers to do for children or whatever, and it all stopped. and and I have to be honest with that. So I was, a lot of times in my, before in my life, I was thinking like, why do it stop? And I was kind of I felt like a victim, because I said, all right, you see, it is stopped. It's not going to be happen, or whatever. And lately, I found myself, no, Chris, it stopped because you don't give it attention at the moment. And I have, maybe it's not true what I said, but for me, I kind of, I'm also experimenting with the human design. And I have the, I have the gift of reproduction, and the gift, the not the gift, but I have the talent of reproduction even more. So everything where my energy goes, it grows. But if I don't put energy in it at the moment and I put something else, because, yeah, and it is, of course, with reason, because I need, I need some more tools myself. I need liberation, so my creativity can come out more than before. But then the rest, it stopped. And then, and now I was observing that, and I had to make real commitments again. Like I said, I literally said, because I also talk to myself because it's very handy. I have the red energy field and the generator energy field, and generators need to talk. That's why they talk also. You see all those generators talking to each other because they need to talk. So for me, this is the reason why I talk to myself, and for the well, and there are more reasons. But so I talked to myself, and I said, no, you have to make a new commitment. And so I made a new commitment, and then the same day, something popped out, and then you get an invitation again. And this is for me quite, I can say, quite revolutionary, because it turns everything around. For me, it turns everything around, because I now am my own master, and I'm not waiting anymore. And if something is stopped, I can, normally I was like longing for things like, oh, I wish I had more clients, or I wish I had this, or I wish I had inspiration for a book, or I wish I had this or this or this. But now I said, oh, you want to have more clients? Okay, just put your energy in it, and you will see you'll get more clients. Oh, I want some inspiration. You want some inspiration? What gives you inspiration? Do it, and you will find yourself getting more inspired. And for me, I have a very nice example for that. I want more inspiration, and one day, actually, I made a commitment again, and then the same day, I came downstairs, and my partner, he was, and he didn't know what's going on, because he found himself with a computer typing, and then suddenly he saw his he saw the advertisement of this property, this house. I've been here before, and he said, "Oh, okay, Chris, do you want to go there again?" Yeah, all right.
Oh,
That's
advertisements. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
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 Sorry, yeah.
Oh,
If
no
I'm not
problem.
clear.
No, yeah, you said it in a different way. So I was like, what does she mean? But
Oh, yeah. I saw he was on the page of a promotion, the
yeah,
promotion
exactly.
of
Advertisement. Yeah.
the advertisement
Yeah.
for the house where I'm in now. But and then he said, Chris, don't ask me why. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I found myself typing, and I found he is like you. He is the creative investigator. So he finds everything on internet or whatever. So by knowing this, I'm not an investigator. So now I know this, and I know the investigators around me. I have a lot. and I can delegate. Like, oh, can you do that for me? Can you please find me this, find me that, find me that? It's marvelous, guys. I can recommend this. Anyway,
No. And then I get all the work. No, just kidding. I
but
need to say no.
you guys, don't be such a crazy girl. You guys love it because if you do, I can see that in his face when he's doing this and he's finding something. And not only him, like I said, I have a lot of investigators around me, and you can see them glow if they found something, if they discovered something, and then they can be in service for me, and then they see me going to this house, and then I'm writing again, and yeah. But the story was that I actually I made a commitment, and it went so fast because 1 second I made a commitment, and then I walked downstairs, and then my partner was typing like crazy, and then he found this advertisement, and then he booked for me this couple of days. And see me, guys, I'm here, and I know for sure this whole surroundings is so inspirational for me. So now I know I'm going to write. And this is completely different for me, like I was before. And this is actually happening a lot at the moment. I'm finding my strength back. I'm finding my responsibility back, and I'm learning to take things under control myself. That is very interesting. Now my well was talking. I had the control card. I had the control card for the tarot today, and I didn't actually understood this one. Normally it's like you want to have control, but now I know what they mean. Thank you. And again, thank you, Mariska, for this talk, because lots of things happening and it's happened so fast. But it's getting the control back, and not the control you are used before, but the you have control is actually neutral.
Yeah.
You can experience positive control.
Well,
We,
it's the control of the things in your life that you take your energy back, you take your
yeah,
strength back, and
yeah,
from that place you act,
yeah,
and that gives control. But control, that's the tricky thing. The tricky thing with control, the word control, is that a
mm,
lot of people have a negative connotation
yeah,
to the word.
yeah,
But like we had this conversation, I don't know if it was in one of our talks or in the peer meetings, but
yeah,
every word in essence, well, not every word, but there's a couple of words in the world like manipulation, control, power, that kind of stuff. They are leaning towards the negative side at the moment. And when you're looking from a neutral place to those words are brilliant. They're the most beautiful words that exist almost. So yeah, thank you for clarifying that, because I think it's important for people to understand that what kind of load you give to a word, that's the kind of load you will get back. And if you see control as a positive thing to have in your life about certain things, then it has a positive result also. But I like what you're describing, and I'm actually curious if you also have a example, because you started with the focus. That's something, by the way, that is coming up for me in the last 2 days. So thank you for sharing that, because there was definitely some wisdom in that I can use and experiment with. But I was curious about, you said like, okay, if I want extra clients, what would you do to take the focus to accomplish that? What, or did you do something like that? What did you do, and what kind of results did you get?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. First you have to think what kind of clients and what would you like to do. For me, yeah, I like paper reading to read paper readings, or and I like empowering. And so if I want clients to do that and I don't have that at the moment, then I start to be an observer. What do I do now? Do I have my focus? Do I put my energy at the moment on what I like? And I found myself uh, busy with other things. So and I was kind of distracted. And it's okay. Of course, it's okay because I was not distracted in a way that I didn't do good things or useful things. I did useful things, of course, I did, but I had a longing, and I was at that moment I found myself longing for this again because I found it wasn't there anymore, and I said, okay, I long for that. Okay, then why isn't this why aren't they at the moment in my picture? So and then I found myself thinking like, okay, because you don't focus on your clients. And why do you have clients? Why do you want clients? What are you longing for? Just make that sure for yourself. And for me, it's like if I empower other people, for me, I feel alive. But I feel alive if I don't do anything. But I just enjoy it. And and actually, I more and more I realize that we are living in a projection field. So why don't you find yourself projecting things and that you like, and don't project things that you don't like. But like I said before, it is a package deal. You know, if you want kind of things happen in your life, yeah, sometimes you get things that are not nice happening to make sure that it's possible later on to be able to do that what you want to achieve that.
Yeah, or to receive that in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, to receive or to achieve or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever is in the way, because there is if it's not there, then you haven't you haven't created yet, or you are. But it's not only about the creation, it's about the way, it's about the whole, the adventure, like I mentioned before.
yeah. Well, what comes up for me now is that what I'm curious about is that, I don't have I have the starter energy from the yellow energy field. I'm not a finisher, not at all. I don't like to finish, um, or don't like it. It's just not in my energy. At some point I'm done. And what I notice for myself, and that's also the bumping in from my profile and stuff like that, is that I can go bump into something. I like it really very much. I will go deep diving into it, and then at a certain point I'm done. I'm just done. And then I bump into something else, and it can be completely different. It can be like I'm researching dancing horses, and then all of a sudden I'm researching how I can build my business the best way, or whatever. It's not related at all. So when we're looking at the focus, you're talking about the focus, and I completely get that, because where focus, where you where what was
Your
the
energy
expression?
goes
Where your energy goes, no, where your
into
focus
the
goes, the energy flows. Yeah. So I get that, but I'm curious now, like, okay, I'm like, one day I feel like, okay, today I want to be focused on growing or attracting more people to do purpose papers readers for. That day I will spend, making action steps and be, focused on it and in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like for me. And then, like 2, 3 days later, I get bored. So I want to shift my focus to something that catches my attention that's new, or to someone else that is already in my scope of, what I'm doing. And then I'm focusing attention on that. And I know that that there's all these gurus out there. They're saying, yeah, but you need to really focus on one thing and you need to go there and blah, 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 blah. And then I get stuck because then I'm like, well, but that's totally against my energy field, my human design. Um, so I'm very curious, what would you say about that?
Just it will be very handy if you know your purpose, if this and just be focused on your purpose. And if you find yourself bored, because I have the same, I can't be focused all the time in one thing. This is impossible because um, yeah, you can't learn a fish climbing a tree. This is not my expression, but I've heard this before, and I agree with that. So why should you want to be a fish that climbs in a tree? Just um, just find out if you are a fish or an ape or whatever, and and find out and a kind of believe that is your purpose. So your purpose could be the knowing what kind of animal, animal you are. It's not literally an animal, of course, but it's just a saying. And then and then you can know what is good for you. You have talents, you have gifts. So you have the starting energy. So a starting energy, and your yellow energy field. You are a sprinter. Why are you forcing yourself to sprint for 2 weeks all the time? That's impossible. A sprinter needs to go and then to get rest and to
Yeah.
go and to get rest and to go. So you need to be aware what works for you. And yes, people say that focus on this, focus on that, and I just said the same. But what I mean is focus on what you feel and just and
Long for in that moment.
yeah, focus on that and give space and give room for the way you are.
Yeah.
Like oneness by diversity. Everybody is diverse. Nothing is for everybody. Everybody is different. So
Yeah.
everything works different for anyone.
Yeah.
So you can't compare.
No, no, no. This was just a
No,
curiosity.
no, no.
Like, hey,
I
what
know,
was
I know.
your point of view?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I follow my instincts. For me, it's well, not easy per se, but I know that the things that I'm working on all are in alignment with my purpose. I already also accepted that it can look totally different from one another. The things that you're working on, they can have. For me, the basic, the thing behind it needs to be that it is working towards fulfilling my purpose in life. But I notice sometimes that my mind goes like, oh, you need to do this now and you need to do that now, and I know that I need to follow my spleen. That's the only thing I need to do. um, but I know that there's a lot of people. I see that in the Facebook groups about human design, and we're getting so bombarded with how we should do things and how we should proceed with things and whatever. That's why I brought it up, because I was like, well, this is maybe interesting also for our audience. And let me know, or let us know, if you find this interesting and how you are dealing or experimenting with it in any way, or maybe you found a way that you want to share that other people can, read and experiment with. Because we're not here to tell you how to do it. We are just here to share,
Mm.
that there's all kinds of possible ways to experiment with things, and then you can feel like, okay, this makes me happy, this makes me light up inside, and if it doesn't, well, then it's not for you. So that's a very easy answer to find. I'm doing exactly the same thing, but I have the challenge that my mind will go up and like, yeah, but you need to work the whole week on that project, and you need to. And then I'm like, why? I don't need to do anything. If I don't feel it, I just don't do it. And if I let go, usually the funny thing is, when I let go, then all of a sudden things start to move, because you're not busy with an outcome you want. You just release the energy to do what needs to be done, in the background, and without you even knowing and seeing that it is happening. Energy always works for you. So but it's still, yeah, it is a challenge. It is something that I'm so deeply conditioned on, that although it's wearing off, the conditioning is wearing off, but it still, yeah, sometimes comes up, like, and then with the, maybe you recognize that there's little finger inside you, like, you didn't do this and you should do that, and if you don't do that, then that doesn't happen. I don't know if you recognize it, but for me, there's definitely the finger, like it's,
Before, yeah, I used to be like that, but I
yeah.
don't have it anymore.
Okay, well, that's cool. I'm
Yeah,
I'm getting there, but yeah, with a lot of things, I am there, but this is so deep, the conditioning. I noticed that I'm like, okay, and then I'm like in observant mode. Okay, it is what it is, and I will get better at it eventually.
of course.
So let's not start a new subject, because the hour is already gone again.
So quickly, yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
Well,
it goes really quickly. Did you want to add something still to this conversation?
no,
No?
it's better to wrap it
Okay.
up.
Well, then we leave it at that. Folks, everybody that was listening in, let us know that you listen. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel to hear our other talks, and to get I think you get a little bell notice or something when we go live. So then you can watch us live. That would be very cool for us, because then we can interact a little bit with you guys. And well, the planning is next week. You never know, but that's the planning. Did you want to share something or say something to our audience, Chris, to wrap it up?
No, just have a good time, guys and girls,
That's a
and
great answer.
just and create something nice. Doesn't matter. Just don't take life so seriously.
Yes, that's a good one. Thank you.